I took your hearts out of the kiln, and now they look like this. So today we're going to add glaze to our hearts. First of all, what is glaze? Glaze is a special paint for clay. It's actually liquid glass that melts when fired in a kiln and will turn your hearts shiny. There are 3 basic rules for glazing. You don't want to mix the colors, so if there's a yellow brush in the yellow glaze, keep it in the yellow. Same thing with pink, keep the pink brush with the pink. I can use more than one color, but I can't mix the colors. And I'm going to paint the top only, and I need to paint 2 or 3 coats of each color. So that means I can paint part of it yellow. I could paint half the heart yellow, half the heart pink. I could just paint the whole thing one color. I think I'm going to paint the edge yellow. And I don't want to leave any white spots, so to take care of that, I can dab the brush rather than going back and forth to get into those textures. I'm going to paint the rim with yellow. So I painted that with one color. I'm going to let it dry, and then I have to paint it a second time. You'll know it's dry when it doesn't look shiny anymore. Now that it's dry, I can paint it a second time. And if I want, I can let it dry again and paint it 3 times. I think 2 is enough for this. And I'm putting the yellow brush back in the yellow glaze. For the inside part, where I haven't glazed yet, I'm going to use pink. Notice I'm not putting pink on top of the yellow, because remember, you can't mix your colors. So now I'm going to put pink where I haven't glazed yet, and being very careful. If a little bit gets on the yellow, it's not a big deal. Just do the best you can. And that's why I'm using a small brush to get into that small space. And again, I'm going to dab it so that I get into those textures rather than going back and forth. Go up and down with the brush. Let it dry. I'm going to paint it a second time. You can only paint the top only. If you spill a little bit on the back, this is what you do. Wipe off the glaze on the bottom carefully. And make sure that you painted each color 2 or 3 times. You painted the top only, and you didn't mix the colors. When you're completely done, put all the brushes in the water container on your table. That's the only time you're going to use that. You're not going to clean the brushes with it. You're going to just put them in there so that I can collect them later and wash them. Leave your glazes on the table. And take your heart and put it in the table in the front of the room. Hold it carefully with 2 hands. You don't want to drop it. It can still break. I can't wait to see what these look like after they come out of the kiln. They should be shiny, and the color will change a little bit. Now that you're done, you're going to take your wet paper towel and open it out. And make sure you really clean your hands. You don't want to have any glaze left on your hand. Leave this on your table, and we'll collect that later also. Also, I want you to tell me how you think you did. I followed all the glaze rules. There's no white spots. I glazed the top only. And I used 2 or 3 coats of glaze. If you have 3 check marks, give yourself a smiley face and color it in. If you have only 2 check marks, color in your so-so okay face. If you only have 1 check mark, color in the sad face.